2.5 hours east of Calgary, tucked between the wheat fields and cattle ranches, there's a surprisingly vibrant sailing community. For this week's Outdoor Report, Paul Karchut was taken to Lake Newell, near Brooks, to catch a ride on a very fast sailboat. And Paul joins me now with more. Hello.
Good morning.
So what kind of boat are we talking about here?
Well, it's called the Ketterman TriFoiler, and it's the fastest mass-produced sailboat ever built. It looks a lot like a bobsled with wings spanning out on either side of you, very spaceship-esque. And the whole idea is that once it gets going faster than about 25 kilometers an hour, the boat rises up out of the water and skips along the surface with just 3 tiny points of contact. Now, there's an Alberta connection here, too. The designer actually came up from California to Stafford Lake near Lethbridge, of all places, to break the speed record back in 1992. And since then, only a couple hundred of these boats were made back in the 90s. And the listener who invited me out on this trip, Jonathan Levine, was able to get his hands on a used one a few years back. Now, the whole thing about the TriFoiler is it's a wet ride, and it's a little bit wetter than I expected as well. So while I would normally bring you a piece, rich in sound with splashing and wind blowing.
Right.
My recording equipment, or more specifically, I should say, Chris Delatore's recording equipment, didn't survive the unexpected drenching.
Is Chris hearing this for the first time now?
I've broken the news.
Oh, okay.
But with the help of modern sound effect technology, here's how our outing may have sounded.
I'm there.
Very nice, huh?
Are there actually foghorns on Lake Newell?
No. I thought it would be a nice touch.
It's got a marine-esque quality to it.
But back in the comfort of our very dry studio here at CBC, Jonathan told me that the TriFoiler is more like flying in a hang glider than sailing in a boat.
The first time that I got it up on the hydrofoils, what struck me was the sound. A lifetime of sailing in conventional displacement sailboats has made the sound of water on the hull just second nature, that constant slapping. And there's plenty of that in this boat too, but when you get it up to speed and get it up on the foils, that stops, and it's just replaced by hiss and spray and a lot of speed. We were lucky today. We actually managed to peg the speedometer on it briefly. What speed did you see on there?
35 miles an hour.
Yeah, 35. And that just really is, pee your pants fast on a sailboat. It's just, people in sailboats don't go that fast.
All right. Well, what was it like, Paul? What was it like actually sailing in this boat?
This boat is amazing. Once you pick up a bit of speed and rise up onto those tiny foils, it's like you've pressed the turbo button. The look of total shock from these powerboaters as we ripped past them in a sailboat was pretty priceless. But it was the turning that blew my mind. You'd expect a sailboat to lean right onto its side when you make a high-speed turn, but this boat was like a Ferrari on a racetrack. It was glued to the water. Even when Jonathan cranked a sudden 90-degree turn, I haven't felt G-forces like that since I was in the bobsled at COP, and I can definitely see how you could get addicted to sailing in this boat.
So why did Jonathan choose Lake Newell for this outing?
Well, it's actually the largest human-made lake in all of Alberta, and it was dammed back in 1914 as an irrigation reservoir, and it's a great spot for sailors because the water is quite a bit warmer than the lakes around Calgary, especially up in the mountains, because it's very shallow. On average, it's about 5 meters deep. And because of its size as well, it's a very popular choice for sailors with fast boats like a TriFoiler, if you happen to have one, or a catamaran, or larger boats that need a bit more space to maneuver. There's an active sailing club out at Lake Newell as well. It hosts a number of races and regattas through the season, and Jonathan says that despite the fact that we're totally landlocked here, there are some very good sailors that come out of Alberta because of the challenging conditions we have to deal with.
Very, very unpredictable lakes, a lot of reservoirs with fluctuating levels, winds that are just nuts, and especially when you get into when you get up into the mountain lakes, Waterton, Spray, Minnewanka. For sailors, those are just terror-generating lakes. Not just the wind, the temperature, the unpredictability of the weather, the way storms move in and out. You get, considering how little water we've got here, disproportionate number of really good sailors come out of here.
And if you have a budding sailor in the family, the Lake Newell Sailing Club is actually offering beginner youth sailing camps throughout the summer. The club is actually right next door to a provincial campground as well, so you could go there, camp, relax, leave your kids with the club for the day. You know, if that's sounding good to you, you can get more information at newellsailingclub.com. And just before I leave you, another boat-related event is coming up this Saturday right here in Calgary. The MEC Paddle Fest is down at Carburn Park from 10 till 4. There are a number of workshops being offered, including bear safety, how to properly read a river, how to camp. Each session is about an hour long and costs $10. And if that sounds good to you, mec.ca/paddlefest for more information.
And we may even see some sun Saturday. You never know.
That would be lovely.
Thank you, Paul.
You're welcome.
Paul Karchut with his outdoor report. He brings us the report every Thursday. Now, you can listen to this one again. You can see a picture of that fast sailboat, and you can check out Paul's past trips by going to the Outdoor Report interactive website. Just go to cbc.ca/eyeopener and look for the link. And remember, if you have a trip you'd like to take Paul on, just send him an email. The address is outside@cbc.ca.